Sadharanikaran model of communication is now I think we need to look into it. What is this for? Is this for as a product for any consumers, as a consumer, or this communication is for wellness or for peace? Ananda. With that communication, what we are expecting? We are just expecting a message, or with that communication, if we are receiving something, we want to be well or satisfied. So Ananda, I don't know how this word is there in the Western parampara or Western culture. When we talk about jnana, vijnana, and then parampara, it's not only communication. That's one part of our, I think, entire cycle. It's only the transmission, the creation of those jnana, vijnana, and parampara. Creation, preservation, and then the transmission. I think you are talking about transmission, and then Professor K.K. Agrawal, you have challenge. In our education system, if we do a Sadharanikaran, then we create something. So Sadharanikaran model, deeply rooted in Eastern philosophical traditions or Indian philosophical traditions, presents unique perspective on communications. Developed with the blessings of our scholars by Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari, this model emphasized the dynamic, participatory, and co-creative aspects of communication process. Our thinking and then communicating and serving it in the humanistic way. So if I ask a mother and a child about the communication, I don't know which model works there, which Sadharanikaran model works, but mother can always communicate with their children even if they cannot speak. We need that. Like the communication is not only the content, as Professor Regmi also mentioned earlier, the medium of communication.
We now invite Professor Bhola Thapa, Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, for his remarks as the session chairperson.
Professor Thapa is the Vice Chancellor of Kathmandu University, where he has made significant contributions to engineering education and research. With a career spanning over 3 decades, he has held various academic and administrative roles, including University Registrar and Dean of the School of Engineering. Professor Thapa has been instrumental in establishing Kathmandu University's School of Engineering as Nepal's first QA certified engineering institute. His expertise in hydraulic machinery, sand erosion in turbines, and renewable energy has been recognized globally through numerous publications and conference presentation. Over to you, sir.
Chief guest of today's program, Professor Dr. K.K. Agrawal, President of South Asian University, and I'm also so blessed and lucky that my alma mater, my senior from my engineering college in Chandigarh, Professor B.K. Kuthi Ala, former Vice Chancellor, and Professor Dr. K.G. Suresh, Vice Chancellor of Makhanlal Chaudhary National University, Professor Dr. An Hong, Vice President, School of Public Administration of University of Electronics, Science and Technology of China, Dr. Shuchi Yadav, Chairperson, Center of Media Study, JNU, Fellow Vice Chancellor from Far Western University, Professor Joshi, Mrs. Ekumaya Poon, Dean of School of Arts, so Dr. Professor Balchandra Luitel, Dean of School of Education. Very special person present here today, Professor Ram Krishna Regmi, guru of many of our media scholars here in this country, distinguished scholars, esteemed guests, dear colleagues, ladies and gentlemen. Since we have been gathered here, assembled here on very special model of communication, and to reach to that place. Professor Ramakrishna Regmi, you have trained or educated Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari on this special occasion on behalf of all academia of Nepal. I would like to felicitate you. Thank you for all the effort you have laid in this country to formally start a media education in this country, and on that ground we are able to stand here. So thank you very much, sir, and congratulations on behalf of all academia of Nepal. It is an immense honor and privilege for me to welcome you all to this international seminar on 2 decades of Sadharanikaran model of communication, hosted by Department of Language and Mass Communication at Kathmandu University. This event marks a significant milestone in the scholarly exploration and practical application of Sadharanikaran model of communication, a framework that has profoundly influenced the field over the past 2 decades. Before we dwell into the heart of our discussions, allow me to extend my heartfelt gratitude to all the participants, researchers, academicians, and practitioners who have traveled from various countries of the world or joined online from various parts of the world to contribute their insight and expertise. Your presence here today underscores the global relevance and academic vigor associated with the Sadharanikaran model of communication. As Professor Agrawal said, maybe it's not the forum for us, we as engineers. I was also thinking that maybe I will just complete my formality of addressing you, since my predecessor are all from the technical background in this Kathmandu University, from medical background, and then the professor of chemistry. And my own senior, when he stood up here and then talked about Sadharanikaran of communication, I think I cannot run away from here. I refer to the statement of Professor Suresh in this region, especially on the South Asia region, when we are on the development, different types of development phase, especially India, when after this National Education Policy 2020, and I think it's with the special interest of the Prime Minister Modi. So you are very much or directly involved on Indian knowledge system, IKS or Bharatiya knowledge system. When we talk about, let's say, this Eastern knowledge system, so we can generalize it with the Eastern knowledge system. So we do have a Jnana, Vijnana, and a Parampara. I think what we are talking about means what Dr. Adhikari, you have presented 2 decades back, and then we are trying to practice it and utilize it is based on this, our system of Jnana, Vijnana, and Parampara. What is our vision, our drishti for this Parampara? How do we look these things? So, of course, we talked about the Western philosophies or Western practices or colonial practices, ma'am, you mentioned, but we do have our own Gyan Parampara, and based on that Gyan, Vijnana and Parampara, Dr. Adhikari, you have presented this, I think, Sadharanikaran model, and Sadharanikaran model of this communication is, now I think we need to look into it. What is this for? Is this for as a product for any consumers, as a consumer, or this communication is for wellness or for peace? ananda. With that communication, what we are expecting? We are just expecting a message, or with that communication, if we are receiving something, we want to be well or satisfied. So ananda, I don't know how this word is there in the Western parampara or Western culture. So I think all the examples which the earlier speakers mentioned about our Vedas or Ramayana or Mahabharata, whatever it is, this is not just for communicating. There was some means, some reason for that, and that's also for ananda. Definitely, like when we talk about jnana, vijnana, and then parampara, it's not only communication. That's one part of I think entire cycle. It's only the transmission, the creation of those jnana, vijnana, and parampara. Creation, preservation, and then the transmission. I think you are talking about transmission, and then Professor K.K. Agrawal, you have challenge. In our education system, if we do a Sadharanikaran, then we create something. We create something for present society, and we move from here. I don't know when I am talking about Sadharanikaran of the communication, if I speak in Nepali here, and if I can transmit it to you, sir, those who cannot speak, who is not the native Nepali speaker, then I think I will be successful. Otherwise, Sadharanikaran is also, just as Professor Agrawal mentioned, he is an electronics engineer, he has a sender, he has a receiver, and in between it's a transmission. What is a signal that he originates, what's the signal, what the receiver receives, but the message is passed or not. So for me as a mechanical engineer, even it's now more complicated. How can I Sadharanikaran of mechanical engineering? In this hall, I don't know why you are here, but I can see a medical doctor. I see one of my former student, engineer here. I don't know why you are here, what you want to understand. But if you remember, I started teaching you a point, isn't it? I started teaching my engineering student a point and a line. That is only I taught you. Rest, you draw. Either you extend, if you extend a point, that's a line. If you make it curve and then assemble all those points, curves, it's a product, it's a machine, it's a language. So how do we do the Sadharanikaran? I don't know. From where we initiate, from where we complete. So definitely I will not speak in Nepali. I know that there are my Indian colleagues, friends, you can understand what I speak. But we have friends from other part also. So Sadharanikaran model, deeply rooted in Eastern philosophical traditions or Indian philosophical traditions, presents unique perspective on communications. Developed with the blessings of our scholars by Dr. Nirmal Mani Adhikari, this model emphasized the dynamic, participatory and co-creative aspects of communication process. Over the past 2 decades, he has challenged and expanded our understanding of communication beyond the transactional and linear models predominantly explored in the Western paradigms. And as I am also equally proud, when I became a Vice Chancellor and then when I was talking with my colleagues, I said, each professor in this institute is an organization. You should be an organization. You are, then when you have developed such models and if that model is being practiced, received by the professionals, that's also the institution or organization. This seminar is an opportunity to reflect on the theoretical advancements, empirical research, and practical applications that have emerged from the Sadharanikaran model. It is a moment to celebrate the model's contribution to the field of communication studies and to critically engage with its implications for contemporary communication practices in diverse cultural contexts. As we gather here, let us acknowledge the transformative impact of Sadharanikaran model of various domains, including media studies, intercultural communication, health communication, and development communication. It emphasizes on mutual understanding, empathy, and the creation of the shared meanings resonates deeply with the values of inclusivity and cultural sensitivity that are essential in today's globalized world. Moreover, this seminar provides a platform to explore the intersections between the Sadharanikaran model and the indigenous communication practices as mentioned by various scholars from all around the world today as well. In our pursuit of knowledge and development, it is crucial to reorient our perspective to honor and integrate indigenous wisdom and methodologies. The Sadharanikaran model offers a fertile ground for such integration, fostering community engagement and empowering marginalized voices. Our sessions today are designed to facilitate rich discussions and collaborations. We have an impressive lineup of keynote addresses, panel discussions, and paper presentations that will offer diverse perspectives and insights into the Sadharanikaran model. I encourage all participants to actively engage, challenge each other, and contribute to these conversations as your inputs are invaluable and in advancing our collective understanding. In conclusion, Professor Agrawal, it's not like that we talk about Sadharanikaran of the education. We have initiated that at Kathmandu University. So much of interest and then complications in the health education. We said, okay, we will simplify it. Sadharanikaran of the health education. We have introduced a bachelor's in yogic science and well-being, where a student who wants, or a person who wants to devote themselves to serve the people for their well-being. So we said, okay, our knowledge, our parampara, Gyan parampara was from the Vedic science, yogic science. And then that we have included in our bachelor's level. The faculties from medical school are teaching the same students which coming from the Sanskrit Gurukul Pathshala. So they are those who have not studied science at all in their 12 year of education. They are taking a course of pharmacology, physiology, anatomy taught by the professors of medical school. So we want to Sadharanikaran of the education. Not only in the medical, even in engineering, sir. So as you mentioned that in your mathematical, your engineering model, so you said your paper is quite referred on the optimization model. Sir, I have also left almost the hydraulic machinery and then this. So I am working on art engineering. All our traditions of making this sculptures, bronze casting, either stone sculptures, woodworking, so that has to be brought into the engineering education. And in the same school, this school of arts is so diverse. We have a bachelor's in crafts and design, where non-engineering, non-science background student will also study the same course together with the fine arts students so that they can develop a products. So I think it is in line with the Bharatian knowledge system or Indian knowledge system which NEP is talking about. Sir, we were able to host the North Zone Vice Chancellors Conference of Association of Indian Universities, and in the main session of the Indian University, main conference in Hyderabad, there was an entire session on a Bharatian knowledge system, and then whatever we have been practicing here, there were several presentations made on that session on our indigenous and our traditional knowledge. So with our realization of we have to preserve our knowledge as well as we have to create a more knowledge. So like bachelor in yogic science and well-being and bachelors in crafts and design, recently we have approved the program on bachelors on heritage conservation. So all our temples can be recreated, like especially the pagodas or gumbas. So we can preserve as well as we can make new. So and then it's not only preserve doing, but we have to continuously pass that knowledge to the next generation. So with the School of Education, we have a Masters in Indigenous Knowledge. So all our indigenous knowledge has to be preserved, protected and transmitted to the future generation. So we are really convinced on this, and then definitely, as all of our we have been talking, this is a sort of a humanizing our thinking and then communicating and serving it in the humanistic way. So if I ask a mother and a child about the communication, I don't know which model works there, which Sadharanikaran model works, but mother can always communicate with their children even if they cannot speak. We need that. Like the communication is not only the content, as Professor Regmi also mentioned earlier, the medium of communication. The medium of communication has put us so much of challenge. Now, the present day mother will not invite a son or daughter for dinner by shouting for dinner is ready. She sends a message on the messenger. That is what is happening in my society as well, in my house as well. So mother is talking with my children, my wife is talking with my children on messenger. I don't know what will be, what we are, and how we are talking about Sadharanikaran of the communication. Anyway, we have to bring them back to be a human, because something which I read from the eye cannot be replaced by anything. Not only in my house, in my office as well. There are my two professors in the same room, communicate through the emails, but they don't have time to talk each other. This is sort of maybe the another side or the dark side of the development of this technology or development. Anyway, now with this some of my feelings, I don't know whether it fits with this conference and the model or not, but I just try to spoke my heart. Before I leave from here, once again I would like to thank Professor Agrawal for sparing your time with us. More than that, your offer to work together with the South Asian University is very means accepted by Kathmandu University. On behalf of all my friends, I wholeheartedly accept that. We have already started working together with the Indian universities, with Indian Institute of Technology, Madras. We have a joint master's program with Indian Institute of Technology, Hyderabad. We have a joint PhD and master's program. We have already started. If we can have some centers together, either here in Nepal or at the Delhi, we will be very much open. Sir, with Sadharanikaran of communication, of Sadharanikaran of the education, it should not be only for very limited group or limited place or limited country. We have extended our bachelor's in yogic science and well-being at Tirupati. As Professor Suresh was mentioning that he wants to connect Mahankal with the Pashupati, we have connected Tirupati with the Pashupati. Kathmandu University's Bachelor in Yogic Science and Well-being is offered at Tirupati, and in the first batch we have 6 students studying yoga. I know that India has a very rich knowledge of yoga, but the Himalayan yoga, the many of the knowledge which was created on the foot of the Himalayas can benefit all over the world. That's why, so we would like to join hand with you, sir, and other institutions who have come up here. So with this, once again, I would like to thank for your participations. I would also like to wish that the rest of the sessions of this conference will be very fruitful, and it will initiate or it will begin the relationship with many other friends, and then we will make more and more models in the days to come. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor Thapa.